Hey everyone, Tracy Taylor here from Taylor Made Transformations. Today is going to be a topic about dysfunction, and this topic hits pretty close to home for me. I think that when we grow up very dysfunctional, with dysfunctional parents, whether they're alcoholics or they have their own mental issues, narcissists, we carry that with us. A lot of us do. I mean, some of us are able to get rid of it, but most of us carry it with us, and we carry it, unfortunately, then into our adult lives. And unless you have dealt with that, and it's hard not to let it affect you. I know personally for myself, I lived with a level of dysfunction that I didn't even realize for years, even despite going to therapy, and that, it's my belief that I think the mind only lets us see so much, because we can't really process or deal with everything all at once. But I'm not at all, it embarrasses me to admit this and that, but it's the truth. And the truth is that I raised my kids in a very dysfunctional home. And for the long time, that dysfunction was normal. And this is what happens when you grow up dysfunctionally. Dysfunction is normal to you. It's not normal to people that didn't grow up that way, but you are not able to see it because it is your normal. And I'm not making excuses for people, but it's really honestly the truth. And it's not until you realize, and for every person it comes at different times or in different ways, but it's not until you realize how dysfunctional you are, can you truly begin to heal and make those changes, because we can't heal what we don't acknowledge. But it was a long time. It was a long time for me. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. And I'm still working on it. We're all still working on things. But I always tell my daughters that they're very lucky to have someone like me, because I wish that I had someone like me when I was their age, that was in touch with themselves and what's going on around them. But this is my cry out to all of you. If I would have had someone to help me, to talk to me, to say the things that I needed to hear in my early 30s, life might be drastically different, but we all are where we're supposed to be. But if you are in an abusive relationship, what abuse can take many forms: mental, verbal, physical, all of the above. One's not better than the other, and you're scared, and you don't know how you're going to make it, how you're going to raise your kids, how you're going to do anything. I know that it seems like it's impossible and that you're stuck, but you're not. Please know that you need to make the change. You need to get out of that relationship. because until you build yourself up, you can't build your kids up. And unfortunately, we teach our kids this level of dysfunction and it becomes their normal too. And it's just a cycle that passes from generation to generation until it's broken. There are many things that you need to do and steps you can take before you completely sever the relationship. I would advise you to seek a therapist if you could, a really, really good friend or relative. But until you realize that your dysfunction is what your normal is, you can never change it. And it saddens me to see how much of my own life that I lived dysfunctionally, and how that burden that I put on my kids because I was brought up dysfunctionally. And I've begun to change it over the last several years, but these things take time. And my kids, are older and they still remember a lot, and sometimes it's easy to fall into old patterns. So these are things that I struggle with every day, even being a coach. I'm human. I'm not perfect. And it's always easier to help somebody else than it is yourself, which is one of the reasons I have a coach and a really great therapist. But my plea for you today is to please wake up, get out, take your life back while you're young, while you can still change things for you and for your kids. It will be a hard road, but it will be so worth it in the end. So that's my thoughts today about dysfunction, and I hope it really helps somebody realize that the dysfunction that you grew up in, that you're raising your kids in, that you're living in, isn't normal. It is normal for you, but it's definitely not normal, and you alone can break the chain. Have a great one, guys.